Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor to be here today. Welcome to Sunrise Arts and Cultural Festival, Sacfest 2026, and welcome to this symposium that is going to be an opportunity for us to discuss and engage and learn and refocus. So we are going to be having an insightful discussion with a group of panelists and also with you, the audience, because we are going to be taking contributions from you and discussions from you. They being here doesn't mean they will be the only ones to talk, but it is a discussion that all of us need to interact, share our experiences so that we can build and also see how we can further our various careers. So the panelists that I'll be introducing in a couple of moments, they will be talking on the theme unlocking creativity and telling community stories for social change through art. Unlocking creativity and telling community stories for social change through art. And as I bet you, ladies and gentlemen, we have a panel that is not made up of just people who are used to theory, but people who have been practicing for long. Some have been practicing for more than a decade and more. So they are not just going to be giving us theory here, they will be sharing with us their experiences. So in a couple of moments, I think I will be introducing our panel so that we get to know each and every member of the panel. So, beginning with the person closest to me, I want to introduce Takong Delvis Mezo. I call him the master practitioner, because as a master of visual storytelling, a filmmaker, and a mentor, he is the hands-on artist. He is going to share with us specific examples of stories that he has told, the creative process behind them, and the impact that they have had in the community. And the next person seated to my right, my big brother Ankias Valley man. He's not a strange face. Most of us know him as an artist. Most of us know him as a performer, but we'll get to know that I call him the activist and the unifier, because as the president of the Northwest Musical Artists and cultural activists, he represents the collective power of artists. He will be speaking and advocating for artists' rights and the role of culture in social and political life. The next person seated closer to me is Armstrong von Billion. I call him the intellectual anchor, because as a cultural consultant in this panel discussion, he will provide historical and theoretical framework. He will also explain why certain stories matter and how they fit into broader cultural context and the context of the Northwest region. Then next we have a big brother too, Mr. Kimbi Celestine. Mr. Kimbi Celestine, please, I think you have to just raise your hand so they see you. Yes. Mr. Kimbi Celestine, I call him the ecosystem builder. Why ecosystem builder? Because he is the coordinator of the Bamenda Film Hub. He's the coordinator of the Bamenda Film Hub, and he represents infrastructure. He represents an infrastructure for storytelling. He will be discussing practical challenges and opportunities for filmmakers in Bamenda to get their stories seen. Then my big brother on the right, Doctor, I call him Doctor, even though we don't like the name for now, but he already get to the position. That is Dr. Ngang Romanus, the artistic conscience. He's a filmmaker, he's an artistic coach, and he brings a focus on craft and narrative integrity. He will speak on how to tell stories well, and that so that it represents and resonates and inspires the change that we want to see in our community. Then the last but not the least, ladies and gentlemen, we have Atangche Zita Ngeche. Is the household name too. I call her here in this panel. We'll be calling her the voice of the people. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, as a musical artist, a journalist, a cultural promoter, she's a dual threat. She will speak on to the emotional power of music and the factual power of journalism in shaping narratives and driving change. So that is the panel for which we are going to be rubbing minds with on this particular day. I've been looking forward to this particular panel discussion because I have a lot of things that I know that I'm going to learn from each and every member of this particular panel. So we'll catch a small breath, ladies and gentlemen. Then when we are back, we are going to continue the discussion. We'll start talking to each and every one of this panelists. So welcome once again to Sunrise Arts and Cultural Festival. In a moment, ladies and gentlemen, I want each and every member of the panelists, I want you to share with us one community story from your life that has shaped who you are as an artist or as a cultural practitioner today. You have just 2 minutes to share with us one community story from your life or others that has shaped who you are as an artist or as a cultural practitioner today. So we will be giving them turns and they have 120 seconds each. I will start with Mezo. No, Grandma, you know, Grandma. Yeah.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you.
Well, let me just go straight to the point. I think the story that shaped who I am and changed a lot of things for me. It's a film we did here a few years ago, just before the crisis of Tenacity. Okay. I'm sure a few people will remember about that. Because it's like we predicted what we are currently going on right now for the past 10 years.
Okay.
Crisis has been going on for 10 years.
Yeah.
And funny enough, we shot the film, was it 2016, and Crisis started 2016, you know, and it was exactly what's going on right now. Like, there's nothing different from what the story will tell you.
Okay.
You understand? So it's like, and I think it's as a result of kind of observation, you know, like true artists, the most creatives, the most important thing for us is like our environment. You should be able to observe your environment deeply, you know, and then look around you, you know, all the stories, the powerful stories that we'll be able to share out there, they start from within.
From within us.
You understand? Authenticity, you must be authentic. And stories that are here, when you listen to that environment, you will tell those stories that will be able to cut across the border. You know why? Because at the end of the day, they will be unique. All of us come from different places, right? And we have different stories.
Yeah.
You understand? And I feel like if we have to spend time, you know, studying our communities, our different communities, our environment, there are certain things that we learn and do that. You know, when you send them out there, the world will receive them. Okay. You know, Tenacity is the film that gave me the best African cinematography award, both, you know, nationally, in Africa and across. I won it everywhere.
Awesome.
You understand? And it was because of, you know what? It's a story that we are living in. It's a story that...
It's like you predicted the future. You predicted the future.
So it changed my life, that's it. So
thank you so much, Mezo. Thank you so much. Big brother Ankias Valiman, can you share with us one community story that shaped you as a cultural practitioner or as an artist?
As an artist, I think I'll share a story of that age when I was very tender, still young, growing up, and we used to play what they call chingom cards. The year of chingom cards, and then the generation today can hear of that. So we're small and moving in primary 1 and primary 2, and so a film was projected in Mancon Palace, because I come from the region of the Mancon Palace, and we watched it, and it was like 81 when Bob Marley passed on or something like that. And then I saw the image of Bob, and it's like some Rastafarianism or reggae futures entered me. And when we were playing the Chingom cards, I passed an announcement all over the community that each time they find a card that is of Peter Tosh, because that was a card. I've managed to see one card with a reggae artist there. Those cards should be brought to me. I'll even buy them. So I'll try to play with you, and we do leaning, which means that we play the cards and they lean on the walls, and then your card that goes further, you win some other person's card. So at the end of it, I gathered all of the reggae cards. Then I started asking myself, but what of this? What's happening to me? I come from a place far not close to Jamaica or stuff. But it was like when I grew up, and then I started reasoning out the roots of the Rastafarians, the roots of people who play the brand of music that I am involved in. And I can tell you here that I think we have almost the same DNA. Most of them migrated from the same place where we migrated from, and somewhere bundled into cargo ships into foreign lands as slaves, which is just the diversified motion of slavery. We are still slaves back here if we don't realize who we are. And some of these things have made me to start reasoning out the culture of unlocking my creativity through reggae music, and then giving you out messages like the song I sang, Culture. You got to know your culture. It's your identity, your history. Because culture first, you have to identify who you are. How do you identify yourself? You know, if you don't know who you are, you won't know what to eat, what to say, how to clothe yourself.
True.
And what kind of conversation you need to get yourself into, and not put junk into your mindset. So I think that is just a small story. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you with sharing us. I think that shaped your life way back when you were young, because it is said that most of us are shaped by the things we consume while we were tender. Psychologists and psychoanalysts will say that you're shaped by the things you learn between 0 and 5, and as you grow up you keep learning new things. So the exposure we give our kids between 0 and maybe even 15 years matters a lot if we really want to give them a better life. I will go straight to Big Brother from B. Armstrong. Please share with us one community story that shaped your life as a cultural promoter, as the researcher that you are, and as we call you the chief priest.
Yeah, greetings everyone once again.
Thank you.
So, it's the story of my family community.
Okay.
The home into which I was born and raised. So it happens that my father is a lover from when he was a teenager, very young. He's a lover of books, Pan-African books,
okay,
magazines, newspapers, and music. My mother, from when she was a girl, student, a lover of books, magazines, newspapers, music. So they started doing a collection of these things, you know, way before they ever met. So I was born into that kind of community. So from when I was in my mother's womb, I was listening to music, because that's all that they played in the house. And when they get up in the morning, they play vinyls from record players. And it happens that the music that they collected, there were Jamaican music, ska and reggae, and high life music, and some Congolese music. So that's the kind of environment I was born into and raised. So before I went to primary 1, I already knew my purpose.
Awesome.
And nobody could tell me otherwise.
Awesome.
And from that time up to now, I've never operated outside of that space.
Awesome.
The culture sector is my world. That's the only thing I know. That's where I function. That's the only space I've earned money.
Okay.
You know, so that's my story, and that's the reason I'm doing what I'm doing.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much from B. Armstrong for that insightful one. Let's go to our big brother, Kimbi Celestine. He is the coordinator for Bamenda Film Hub. Can you share with us one community story that shaped you?
Greetings, everyone.
Greetings to you.
My story dates back as a teenager, or way before teenage age. We used to have this cinema hall, the Rotal Cinema and Roxy Cinema, all those ones. So I used to hawk to sell things, and my mother would be so excited when I come back from school, and I'm excited to go and sell, which is contrary. But when I go there, we do cleaning in the hall in order to get this tip, this either ticket, or when we clean, we get this cut off from the reels of cinema. So when I come back, I will arrange a box and put light and put those films there. It will show the same things on the wall.
Okay.
So when it happens like that, children usually come, and I started collecting money. At that time, I was still very tender. So I started collecting money, and when those tickets were finished, I started carving peppers. And when we put with the kind of Bruce Lee, we put in front, and as we are turning, they are fighting, you get the shadows.
Okay.
And they will be paying more. So it's at that point that I even saw that what I'm getting from there is more than the benefit that I was getting from selling.
From working and hawking.
Yeah, so my focus tilted from that because the passion too was there.
Okay.
So it's from that point that I started developing interest for cinema, marketing, social media, so right up to today, that is me.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that insightful one. All right, let's move on to our old big brother, Dr. Ngang Romanus, the practitioner in the field, film producer and artist coach. Can you please share with us one community story that you've heard or happened to you that shaped your life as a coach or as a film producer, a filmmaker?
Okay, good morning once more.
Good morning.
Please, first of all, I want to correct that doctor, please. It's still in process.
All right.
Out of months to go.
I'm speaking in the future, right? It's the city of the future. Welcome to Bamenda.
And also, I want to encourage my big brothers and big sisters sitting here with me. It's an honor for me. Actually, if you look around, you realize that I'm the youngest amongst them.
Yeah.
In the art and age-wise. So I really want to say thank you for laying a good foundation for somebody like me to be there. If you see me sitting here, it means I don't wash my hands and clean.
Yes. Wash your hands, you big people.
Thank you very much. So I think I am into mainstream filmmaking and corporate filmmaking. What has impacted me more is corporate filmmaking. I come from a background where my mom, they are just girls in their house. So when my grandfather passed away, it was an issue of who is going to be the successor. And then that got me thinking, right? And I had to start doing projects for that. So I did a project in my community, specifically in our house. Of course, I wanted to pass across a message. So it was all about women and successorship. That project has metamorphosed into women and leadership, and currently I'm still following that process because I'm doing another project now on women with disability and cinema. It's kind of tricky.
Okay.
Yeah, women with disability and cinema. I had to do that because as a lecturer in the university, I came across a student who has limb disability, meaning she doesn't have fingers, and she's in our department of performing and visual arts. I'm like, how are you going to do this stuff, right? But then along the line, teaching her from level 1 to level 2, I saw her do a lot of things, and I just studied why is that okay. As a continuation of what I've been doing, I think is a good project. I think we should put it out there. Let people not feel that because I have a limb disability, I have this or that, I cannot do this. It was challenging to me, even teaching her, because imagine you have to teach somebody how to open the camera, somebody who does not have fingers.
Awesome.
It's kind of crazy. So it was challenging and more of education also to me because I had to devise a means to work with her. I am really grateful because out of that project, I think she got a scholarship. She's out there studying.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think that is one of the things that my livelihood, where I come from, where I come from impacted my journey of corporate filmmaking.
Okay.
Yeah, and with that, I will really say like my mom's family is not really into that chaos again of who is going to inherit whatsoever from my grandfather or whatsoever. I think there's that acceptance now that okay, before this man died, he had children, be it girls or boys, he had children. Yeah, and fortunately for me again, I have 2 girls.
Awesome.
If I don't preach this story, then what will happen when I'm gone also?
Thank you so much. Thank you.
That is what has impacted my...
Thank you, Garobados. Atang Zita, the voice of the people. Can you share with us one community story that impacted your life as a cultural promoter, as an artist, journalist?
Okay, thank you very much. I would have loved to take it far back in the primary school, but I'll just fast forward it to when the drastic shift came up in my career as an artist and as a cultural entrepreneur. Ancestor is here and has corrected me. Don't say cultural promoters anymore.
Yeah.
So in 2017, we had an experience where New Breed Africa Celebrity Awards, which is one of the flagship projects of my organization, encountered difficulties because of the internet seizure and for the 3 months that we had here in Bamenda. So I looked at how desperate artists were. They were looking for a platform because we did the first in 2016 and we had the plaza filled with thousands of people struggling, scrambling to enter the plaza for the show. So the second year now, the crisis started and all of those, the insecurity increased. A lot of things were happening, but we had already ignited the hope in the hearts of artists and talented persons in Bamenda. So how were we going to hold that particular edition? Seeing how everybody was already texting, when is Mbaka coming up? Please, can I have a spot to perform? Please, can I just have an opportunity to exhibit this or that? That shutdown, internet shutdown, actually destabilized the event in a major way. And that same season, the show director, T. Conrad, was arrested for taking images and the stories that surround his life. Presently, he's still in Konengi, but the project has been moving. I brought this as the game changer because this is like the motivation behind the close to 10 years of persistence and resistance with the project.
Awesome.
It has not been an easy journey, but because we saw the level of passion that young talents in the Northwest have, we saw the lack of to showcase what they have, lack of platforms, lack of people to even organize the events for them to have the opportunity to showcase. It now pushed us to do even more because we realized when the crisis came, it amplified a lot of criminal activities around. Idleness came in, a lot of things started happening among the young people that caused a lot of them to get into drugs. Some of them had to join gangs and to do funny things. Now shutting down the one platform they were even hoping on. How worst is it going to make it be? We now had to look for possibilities of moving on with the project in the midst of the crisis. So this was really a turnaround because sometimes you may even have money. I've heard of people organizing events with 33 million and it doesn't still work out. Sometimes you can have money, you can have the platforms, but if you lack the passion and a clear vision or reason behind what you are doing, you are going to give up when challenges show up. So that particular incident like that, rather, instead of killing the zeal that we had for promotion of talents, development of talents, it instead expanded it. It never limited it now to art and entertainment. It had to spread now into craft works because we now saw that the ladies, the young single mothers, their own situations became more complex. So how do we also hold this aspect? We now expanded into craft works, training them on beads and Ankara designs, marking, sewing. We included now some things into it that now expanded the vision into not just being an art and entertainment, but also extending into craft and the media and community activities. So that was really a turnaround for me, and the birth of the energy New Breed Africa has maintained for 10 years today.
Thank you so much. I think it is said that the darkest night reveals the brightest stars. I think New Breed Africa Celebrity Foundation and its project New Breed Africa Celebrity Awards was that star they needed in that dark night. And I know that they also say that dreams are not achieved, they transcend. Yeah. You transcend now, it has transcended from not just New Breed Africa Celebrity Awards to now production of craft and also taking care of single mothers and all that. Thank you so much for that beautiful insight. Now that we have laid the groundwork, ladies and gentlemen, we've heard of stories that each and every one of us, it impacted us or changed our lives as the path that we have taken. I would like to ask specific questions now to each and every member of the panel so that we can discuss, and at the end you can take down your questions, audience, so that you'll be able to have that opportunity so that you can ask them questions too at the end of this panel discussion. I will start with Armstrong from Billion, our cultural consultant, researcher and curator. I think Mamazir reminded me of the name Ancestor. Thank you. Okay. As Armstrong, as a researcher and a curator, you have studied how cultures evolve. From your own vintage point, what are the community stories of these Bamenda highlands that are mostly at risk of being forgotten, and why is it urgent that we retrieve these community stories and retell them now? Why is it urgent that we retrieve these community stories of the Bamenda highlands and retell them now?
Let me start by saying that the most crucial story is the fact that, and I'm happy you are limiting it to the Bamenda highlands, otherwise known as the Northwest, is the fact that we don't know our culture.
Awesome.
And that's the only problem we have. And there's no way we can ever evolve. It's not possible if we don't know our culture and if we are not grounded in our culture. And you cannot even know your culture if you don't know at least 30,000 years of your history.
Awesome.
30,000 years of your history. The planet has existed for trillions of years. So what is 30,000?
That's true.
Yeah.
So we just go around and we make noise because we think we have talents, you know. We just blab around and we impress ourselves and impress our friends, especially with the invent of social media, because we own platforms that we can do anything and we post, you know. No. If we ever have to evolve, and when I say we, I'm talking to us, the Bamenda people, but it applies to every other person, every other country, whether it's Nigeria or South Africa, I don't care. If you don't know your culture and whatever you're doing is rooted in your culture, you're going nowhere.
Awesome.
So the story now, in this moment, is the fact that we don't know our culture. Even those who think they know, they still don't know it. So there's a lot of work to be done. And the most important, the most relevant education that must be put out there to everyone, irrespective of age, is culture.
Awesome.
Yes, we need to know what culture is. And there are lots of things that you'll be shocked if we start putting them out, that even the people that think they know, they don't know anything in terms of culture. Let me give you an example, right? Let me give you an example. What's the staple food of name me one staple food in Bamenda or the Northwest?
Staple food.
Yeah, staple food that people eat, that people love to eat.
Achu.
Achu, good. Okay, achu was created by the ancestors, right?
Yes.
who lived once upon a time. Let me ask you, how old is the cocoyam that the curate achu from?
Hey, he's not that old.
Oh, okay. So what if I tell you that cocoa is not indigenous to the Northwest? Whoa. It came from somewhere.
Wow. Wow.
Okay, what if I tell you that all yams, including the yams in Nigeria, which constitute
the Calabar yam, what they call it?
Yeah, the white yam, which constitute part of their cultural dishes, is not also indigenous to Africa.
Wow. Wow.
So you begin to understand that we need a lot of cultural education, because that's the only way we would evolve. Yam is a hybrid that was made by the Portuguese, and they brought it to Africa in the 1400s. So before that, what were our ancestors eating? Now we have to applaud our ancestors for that creativity to see the yam, and then they're able to create a dish called achu. And probably they knew that cocoyam is starch, and starch is unhealthy. Yeah. That's the reason they had the wisdom to blend it with achu banana, which is an indigenous banana. It's not a hybrid. Yeah. It's highly medicinal, to reduce or to deplete the starch content in it. And then with the yellow soup, which has so much indigenous spices from our forest, which are all medicinal, So they try to curate a meal that will be healthy to an extent. So you realize that we don't know our culture, and we need to know our culture if we must evolve, which means that everything about our evolution, whether it's education, has to be rooted in our culture.
Awesome.
Our healthcare system, our medicine must be rooted in our culture. We need to create various cultural values and identify cultural taboos. That's one thing I applaud the Bamenda. For instance, it's a taboo, and this is what the younger people need to take seriously. It's a taboo. Okay, you're fine. They are eating achu with spoon. That's a taboo. In the Bamenda Highlands, if an elderly person who is older than you 2 years stands in front of you, you're not supposed to stretch your hands. Yeah. True. You have to wait for the elder person to stretch their hands, whether they like you or not. When they stretch their hands, you take it. Yeah. They see what is happening now. So our cultural taboos, you don't even know them. Our cultural values, you don't even know them. So how do you even expect us to evolve? So the story is that we have been lying to ourselves that politics is a problem. That I don't even want to name certain things. So we create blames that don't exist, and we are lying to ourselves that that's the reason we are not evolving. But the reason we are not evolving is because we don't have a clue what our culture is. We don't understand how important culture is. Culture is the only power on this planet, not military industrial complexes, not nuclear weapons. Culture is the only power, because culture is influence. That's the reason we have Alliance Française here. Yeah. Because the fact that we are here, we are under the influence of France, whether you like it or not. Yeah. Do we have a venue? Do we have a venue in this town?
No, we don't.
Back to back, all of our events, what are we doing them? Where?
Alliance
Française, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so psychologically, what does that tell you? You feel inferior.
True.
Yeah. In the face of the people who own this institution. Yeah. So you see how important culture is. So you see how it's necessary for us to use various art forms to educate our people, old and young, about culture and why it's important for us to really know our culture. So you now understand why it's important for us to document it, whether it's in the form of literature, or film, or music. We're having a conversation on Saturday in these premises. There was an event here, and a series of young artists went on stage, and the drummers are messing it up. At some point in time, they're no longer playing drum, they're playing bikusi, tombolo. That's non-jam. You're destroying a very important musical genre which the world is yet to discover, which was created by the ancestors because of oversabi, you don't want to learn. You think you have talent. You don't want to learn. You don't even know the importance of learning your culture. You want to go and play it. So these are the things we've been doing to ourselves, and we are blaming other people. So it's important for us. The most important education on this planet is culture.
So we need to get ourselves entangled with telling more stories about the culture of the Bamenda man.
Yes. And culture, you cannot separate culture from history.
From history. Awesome.
And you cannot separate culture from nature. So you need to understand, just knowing the topography, the geographical location called the Northwest is very, very important. Because when you don't know it, you'll be doing the wrong, you even be eating the wrong things and killing yourself. Let me show you something. How old is shawarma in Bamenda? There's a bakery at Metaquata that started shawarma like 2012 or 11. Okay, how viral has shawarma gone, and it's everywhere. Who has ever found out the unhealthiness in shawarma? How much do people spend on shawarma every day? So these are cultural nuances that we need to know as a people. If we want to evolve, and if we want to protect the future generation, because I'm so blessed to come from a generation where the cultural situation wasn't bad. It wasn't that bad. But the ones today, most of the children, what I'm saying is very important, because we have to help ourselves. And the mediums are the various art forms to teach, especially the younger generation, because if you want to look at only the things they're eating and drinking every day, 30 years is too much. 20 years from now, they'll be in dialysis machines, whether I like it or not. It's a painful thing, but that's the fact. Their organs to be destroyed. Do you know that in Kraidais, in villages, the primary thing that they drink is sachet whiskey? Okay, how old is that? See how it has penetrated across to the extent that in rural areas,
I think some
what has happened to palm wine, which is medicinal? Who has even bothered to learn about the medicinal values in palm wine?
Palm wine.
So you see how culture is important.
Thank you.
And why we are where we are.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Afton.
So much to be said.
Thank you very much. Thank you. As I said, I've been looking forward to this, and the heat is on, ladies and gentlemen. All right, I will move on to Gang Romanos. In Gang Romanos, you remember our artistic conscience and our mentor here. Gang Romanos, as an artistic coach, you work with storytellers to refine their craft. What is that single most common weakness you see in aspiring filmmakers who want to tell community stories, and how do you help them unlock that barrier?
Okay.
Remember Armstrong Formby has talked about the various forms of art that we need to use to educate ourselves about who we are. So how do you, those weaknesses you experience in them, and how do you help them overcome that barrier?
Yeah, so I think most part of my work, I've been working with young filmmakers, probably because I came up in a generation that I didn't really have somebody to hold my hand and all that. I took it upon myself that, okay, let me not let others go through this. But I feel the mistake that young filmmakers or young artists are making is a lot of assumption when it comes to telling community stories. What do these guys do? There's this issue of you take a story to a people, which is wrong. You sit in your house and you assume that this is a problem these people are facing. Because of course, as an artist, before you create a piece of art, you must know your audience. So artists now assume their audience. They assume a problem, they create a problem with those audience, they sit in their house and they write something, and then they take it to those audience.
They write it and it's so beautiful for them in that room.
So now it's not about how well you can craft a story, how well you can do screenplay, how well you can sing, how well you can paint. Is that story the truth?
Community based, is it from them?
Authentic. You get? So most filmmakers, most young filmmakers, they do a lot of assumptions. They create art that is void of community engagement. The community is not involved. You know, you are watching a story. At times I watch stories and I ask myself, like, is this true? You know, you do a story about the Bamenda community and then I watch it and I'm like, really, does this thing actually happen in Bamenda? You get? I watch a lot of films from young makers and then I see how they portray marriage. I be like, bro, I grew up in a village. This is not marriage. This is not how marriage is done in the Northwest region. Why? Because they don't do research. They sit in their house, they do a lot of assumptions, they pick from what is available. Picking from what is available is they have access to YouTube, they have access to so many platforms, and there's this thing called media bullying. When you consume something for a very long time, even if that thing is bad, you get to fall in love with that thing.
Yeah, start believing that's the truth.
So, because of what Nigeria is doing, of course, we really don't want to compare, but because of what Nigeria is doing, it's affecting our young filmmakers a lot. It's affecting our painters a lot. For instance, when you open YouTube, you don't need to type a Nigerian film.
Ooh,
you automatically see a Nigerian film.
Definitely.
If you go to music platforms, you don't need to search. You automatically see foreign music.
Foreign music, yeah.
Now, because our young stars are fond of that, they have access to these things. They consume them. And as Grant Armstrong said, we don't know our culture. So they believe that that's us. And because they are passionate, they want to create something for us also to consume, they replicate that nonsense. Sorry,
now you're getting too intellectual now. The doctor in you is coming out.
And you are watching something like people that Mezo say, it's train us to watch. You know the truth. And then you are watching something and you be like, bro, how do you want to convince me with this? I know the truth. This thing you are presenting to me is rubbish. Yesterday when at the opening ceremony, there's this lady who did spoken word. There are some lines that kept me going because that's what I've experienced. She was like, it started with 1, went to 2. But every drug addict knows that it started with 1.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
You get it?
Yeah.
So if you want to tell me a story about a drug addict and then you start presenting somebody who is consuming 4 or 5, that's not the truth.
That's true.
It doesn't resonate with our community.
So let me dive more. I want to ask you. I think you must have had that experience where maybe a young writer has presented to you a script, or a producer presents to you a script that has those things that you know that, okay, this is not our community. How do you help them? How did you help them? How have you been helping them see that, okay, this your story is a beautiful story, but it's out of context. It's not community based. How did you help them to see it, or how? Because sometimes you might be able to, and sometimes they might not be able to. But how did you succeed? Have you ever succeeded in convincing some of them to make a change? And how did you do that so that others can learn from this?
Okay, I think of recent, probably just last year, a young guy approached me with a script. And when I read the script, it was about intertribal war, conflict resolution, and all that. So I was fortunate enough to have interacted with an organization, I think Bendilum Foundation, something that City Game is there. So I read their report about the farmer grazers problem in Womb. And when this guy presented this stuff to me, I read it. I was like, I actually saw what Nigerians are doing. You know, they think like the king comes out, bless the warriors, and then this other way they're blessing the warriors. I was like, whoa, go to that organization.
Awesome.
You get it? And he went there. It was a challenge because he did not know how to present himself and all that. He came back. I took him there personally, and he was given data.
Awesome.
The complete research to read. Now this is the funny thing. After that, I've not seen the young man again. and the film is not out there. So probably he knows the truth now. And he knows very well that this thing I wanted to do is trash. And if I want to do this thing the right way from this data, I need to go deeper. And going deeper means more resources. So the guy just abandoned the whole thing. But again, there's this syndrome with our young filmmakers. Right?
Yeah.
I started by saying that if you wash your hands clean, you can see the air.
Yeah.
I think Mezo can confirm that I wash my hands. Now, there is this thing with young filmmakers or young artists When you tell them the truth, they disappear.
Yeah.
They hate to hear it.
Yeah.
When you tell them the truth, they disappear. I will quote our brother ancestor. I think he's the first person who told me the truth. I think on St. Benet's Day at Upstation something, and we almost got into a fight.
Awesome.
But after that, that was my early days. You get.
Yeah.
After that, I realized that I went into reading. I realized that no, this guy is saying the truth. But I did not shy away. I went closer to him. That's a mistake young artists do. When you tell them the truth, they disappear.
You become an enemy.
You get.
Yeah.
I'll share a story. Probably one of my first films that I did. That was that announced Ngangomanos. When I took it to, he seated here. When I took it to Mezo, he told me the truth. You need to do this. You need to do this. You need to do this. Of course, I had that attitude also. I left. And I did the film, came back, and he was still the one to correct it. That is a lesson you learn without cane, without shouting, without, you get the point.
Yeah.
I told you that this thing is wrong, go and do it, you see that it's wrong. This also goes to us that have a little bit of stamina in the industry and all that, because when I came back, if he was that bad, he'll send me away.
That's true.
And when he sends you away, it becomes that kind of a bad man. Now, what do? You start trying to prove that a bad person.
Yeah.
You get it?
Yeah.
That's where the problem
is.
Yes. But as I said, young filmmakers, young artists, not just filmmakers, painters, musicians, and all that. When you are growing in your career, right, and you see somebody that when you are growing up, you're celebrating that person as a musician, as a filmmaker, and then that person is not active again. Draw close to that person. Draw closer to that person. Why are you not doing this again, Graham? What is happening? What challenges did you meet? You get it?
Yeah.
Because that person has lived the experience. That person can tell you the truth. What happened? And I like quoting people as a researcher. Like what Mbewa Musu always say. We are going around the same circle, we think that we are moving. We are not moving.
That's true.
Because I will tell you for a fact, the music that we grew up listening, the films that we grew up watching, the paintings that we grew up seeing are far more better than what we are seeing today.
What we have today.
And the question is, what is happening? The young filmmakers, as I said, there's a lot of assumption. You see the music, you listen to the music of Ankias Valiman, is good. Why not go close to Ankias Valiman? How did you come about this thing? Now you want to sit in your house and you assume. You try to copyright something and thinking that
I'll show that dancer a bad person.
Yeah. I'll show Ankias Valiman a bad person. You get it?
I get it.
That is our problem.
Okay.
Telling community stories, the main issue is you don't create a problem and bring to me. I'm the one wearing the shoes. I'm the one who knows where it pinches. So for you to be able to tell my story, you must discuss with me.
You must discuss with
Yes,
you.
you must discuss with me. There was a project done in the East, I think by late Bola Botake, a Center for Development project. So these guys went to the East. It was a government-funded project. And you see these pygmies, they live, the distance where they go and carry water is far-fetched. And it was not for nothing. So these guys went there automatically, they saw it as a problem. Went and brought pipe-borne water closer to these guys. But shockingly, what happens? These guys still left and went and fetched water far-fetched. You get it?
Yeah.
And now research proved that since they are living in those one-room carabot, when they send children to go and fetch water far-fetched, that's when mommy and daddy can do something.
Yeah.
Now you brought this water closer to them. There is no time for mommy and daddy to do something.
So they still have to go and carry
So they still have to send these children to go and carry water far-fetched. So you see in your house, you are assuming that these people have a problem. They don't have a problem.
That's true.
You get
So you must talk to them to know the problem they have.
You must go into the community before you even start writing the script. You must go into the community and be assured that this is our problem.
Our problem.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Gavomani. Thank you very much. I am so happy that we have some young writers here and you're getting it firsthand from those who have been in the field. All right, let me move to Kimbi Celestine, our boss, Bamenda Film Hub. as the coordinator of Bamenda Film Hub, you are building the infrastructure for visual storytelling. What are the biggest practical challenges filmmakers here face in getting their community stories produced and seen? And how is Bamenda Film Hub working to unlock those doors?
Okay, I'll first begin by indicating
the challenges.
No, let me start with the raison d'etre of creating the
Bamenda Film Hub.
You know, it stems from the fact that the quality of production in our visual sector was appalling.
Okay.
And we decided to come together to create a hub that can easily do a kind of a quality control on this kind of productions. So fortunately, we have in the hub top crew, top visual experts,
okay,
that are part of the hub. But the unfortunate thing is that with our filmmakers in Bamenda, there is that, the first thing I want to talk about is pride.
Okay.
That aspect of pride, they have it right before what they are even doing. When you want to tell them something, that grand they know now, we see that grand they will time down. Yes. So now these particular kinds of things that we are talking about, they are going about doing the same thing and expecting a different result. We will organize workshops for filmmakers in order to correct some of these aspects. But in that workshops, they will not be there. They will be out there doing a production, committing the same crimes or the same kind of errors. I'll quote an example. The latest film that I did was Kismet. It was directed by Ngang Romanus. It went to the Oscars, and there we realized that there were some certain things that were supposed to have been done right from inception. So those things were corrected, but they were corrected at a level that if we knew, those things would have been done before the shooting even begins. You have the platforms that you intend to send your productions out there. They have their criteria, the kinds of cameras, the sound system, the grading, and the final product, the format. So if you begin that you want to do your production, you first start by shooting. You do your shoot on a substandard equipment, and at the end of the production, after grading, and they ask you now, where do you want to take this production to? You say, it's Netflix. Netflix has a standard. You have already failed right from the beginning. As Dr. Ngang Romanus was saying, if at the beginning you contacted us or you come close to the Bamenda Film Hub, that okay, I want to do a film for Netflix, I want to do a film for this particular platform, you'll be told that okay, begin here, this is what is required, these are the kinds of equipment you need to use in order to achieve your results. But they begin at the end, and then at the end they begin
post-production, is it post-production or something like that?
At the end of the production, they don't get, yes. So Bamenda Film Hub has a quality control standard where they control the quality of films that are being produced. If you have noticed, like 5 years back, the quality of films coming from the Northwest has drastically changed.
True.
Yes, but before then, you will have like we're discussing, when you tell some of these people about what they are required to do, they disappear. They don't come because they have what they have to.
Okay, they have already preconceived ideas of what they want to do. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. I think I'll move on to Ankias Valiman now at this moment. Big brother. As the president of the Northwest Musical Artists and the cultural activist, you fight for the right and recognition of artists. How does advocating for the artists directly contribute to their ability to advocate for social change through their work?
Yeah, thank you. It's good. Probably, I think my brothers rightly told you that what has killed our culture is the cultural identity of artists. We don't yet know who we are. And if you don't know who you are, you cannot understand what you want and what you have and what you lack. If you know who you are, you understand that sometimes you need to conceive, you need some meditation period, you need a calm environment, you need an inner communication mind, a mind where you can talk to yourself and know exactly true who you are. If not so, you come out with what will not please the public. And most of these artists have been finding it difficult to penetrate some kind of markets just because they want to assimilate themselves. Some are doing cut and paste, what comes in from Nigeria, we rightly said here. And to grow with such, such attitudes, like with such developmental career status, will not be of any advantage to them, because what is it that you put out that some other person has never put out? What is it that you have that is going to make you a unique artist? Sometimes we have seminars here, you call them, they don't attend. What do you expect us to do? We want these artists to understand that you need a musical identity in your genre of music that you do. For instance, if you are playing reggae music, let somebody get the voice, the lead vocals of the reggae music out of the song, and we know that this song comes from you. It's not every song that you listen, but to hear the voice of an artist, then you tell me that this is the artist. Let's dash out of reggae, which is my genre of music, and talk Makusa. There's Makusa in Douala. But once you hear Petit Pays without his voice, you know that's him playing. He has created a unique pattern identity in the musical content. When you listen to Misengo Francois without his voice, you know that's Misengo Francois. Coming back to the reggae genre where I belong, I'm doing African reggae. How do I design that reggae look like reggae from us? I've been trying my best. But when you find those to accompany you, even the studio engineers, to do what you want them to do, they don't want to listen to you. They want to do what is coming from outside. When you listen to Lucky Dube without his voice, you know that is Lucky. These are things we need to tell the artists, to the musicians to know. But now when you listen to Bob Marley without his voice, you know that's Bob Marley. But how many Cameroonian or Bamenda reggae artists who claim to be reggae musicians create something? At least I'm almost 50% or something. When you listen to Ankias Valiman's instrumentation, you know that is Ankias coming out. But I need to develop it to the fullest. So we have a lot of challenges creating that identity and using it now to create a platform for yourself. I will not hide it from you that my genre of music is the most paying genre in Africa. It is like a religion. We have festivals abroad, festivals everywhere, now and there, festivals, and they want new, fresh wine. They want something new. And when you want to tell these artists, let us come out something that will look like us, they cannot play. Like he said, you get the drums of Bikosi. Unfortunately, we lack drummers, we lack pianists and guitarists in the Northwest who can actually go out for any international
tours.
But they claim they know how to play music. I tell them that is not an animation they are doing. And I become what? An enemy to them because of what we just said. If you want to correct them, they call you an enemy.
So if I get you well, first of all, for you to be able to advocate for the right of artists, they first of all need to build an identity. You must have an identity first before you can advocate for rights for the artist.
Like what I'm saying, yes, it would be a bad thing, a taboo to be fighting for my rights without me knowing the importance of my rights.
Yeah, without knowing who
the artists don't even know they need to have that right. They are just, they think they can just go get some animation somewhere and get some money in their pocket, and they don't. Why are you? What is it that you are playing music for? Is it for lingerie? Do you want to leave a legacy? Do you want to be rich? Is it animation? Do you want to keep some? Do you want to lay a platform for the younger generations? So we have a lot of things to take into consideration, bro.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Let's move on to our brother here. Let's move on to Atanche Zita. Zita, you are a cultural promoter. What role do our radio stations, our media houses play in amplifying stories for social change, and how can artists better collaborate with our local media?
All right, thank you so much. I'll be speaking a lot from experience.
Good.
I happen to be an artist, musician, who has been struggling a lot with her own music career, struggling to have a platform, struggling to have promotion on our media, from our media houses. And as well, because of my own experience of not being able to have enough support, platform, promotion on the media, I had to start creating the platform for others to be promoted. And I had to purposefully and intentionally go into studying journalism, because I realized that approaching the different radio stations or media houses around, it was very difficult to penetrate the management to understand the need of supporting indigenous artists. I actually did a lot of that even before I studied journalism. I went to study journalism in 2009. But before that, I had already started meeting media managers and different media houses to see how they could listen to what I've done as my music. They could listen to songs from my friends who were also struggling to be heard. And it became very difficult for them to see the need of not playing maybe a pop song in a community radio station in Bamenda Highlands, to playing your own song that maybe even though you may not have mastered the Njang, at least a little bit, there are people in the community that understand the language of Njang and can relate to it better than they relate to pop. So I noticed that they don't even care whether their promotion of what you are doing, which is community-based, is going to push you further and push the culture further and cause the community to embrace our cultural music. They don't care. What they want is they need to be able to capture the biggest market,
masses, yeah.
So they can be able to have their adverts
and everything
and all of that. Well, most of the media houses we have are not really community based per se. They are privately owned. They are commercial. So they are business people.
That's true.
They want to make money. But there's also a trick in it that I realized, because if you are in a community and the money you are making is from that community, you owe that community a responsibility to at least give back to the community by promoting what the community stands for. But we realize that a lot of media houses, they have totally made money making their focus at the expense of promoting what is going to lead to the growth of the community, or promoting community values. And then I had to go back now to study journalism, because I needed to understand, how do I break through this circle? How do I find myself amongst them as an artist, so that I can also advocate for the artists? I would have a voice, they would listen to me. That's how I went to study journalism and attached to my music, and I now started creating radio content, entertainment shows focused only on 100% promotion of home music, like the Meet the Stars on Radio Hot Cocoa. I did that in 2013. I conceived it while in class. In one of our sessions when they were teaching broadcast media, the idea just came to my mind. I said, okay, but how do I penetrate a media house with this. I had to do internship there intentionally because I needed to be there and push this idea for the management to take it. And that's how it was a battle. It felt like, okay, why not make it 50% indigenous and then 50% other kind of music so that the population will engage. I said, the people that you are even promoting, they have no idea about the existence of your media house. They don't even know that there's a media house somewhere in the world that exists like this one. And you are there promoting them for free and forcing their music and their cultural works down the throat of a community that comes to you for announcements, comes to you for adverts. They are the ones that sustain you. Rather, you kill the people that are feeding your growth. That's how I had to confront until they finally accepted that particular program. I now started promoting fully indigenous creatives through that particular program, Meet the Stars. I realized that it was going to be limited because our environment, we don't yet have the radio houses that can cut across regions. So how do we do it? I had to be streaming every edition by creating an online page, Meet the Stars. So when I'm on the radio talking about the indigenous musicians, interviewing some of them, it is now streaming live on the Facebook page so that at least from that platform, the world can also start consuming what we have here. That is how I started penetrating that circle. Then the next step I took was that I realized that I could not be everywhere at the same time, because financially, even if I say I need to leave here, I do this one at 12 noon, then I need to be at another radio station maybe 2 p.m. How am I going to manage all of that movement? I started conceiving the same programs and proposing to other media houses. Like if I identified, I did one for Foundation Radio. I identified somebody there that actually loved the animative programs. I went to him, I sold the idea of us promoting only our indigenous, having a program that promotes only our cultural music back here. I crafted the program, I gave it to him, and he was running the program. I went to Santa Meteo Radio. I sold out the idea to the management, and they told me, we don't know how to do all of these things. They gave me the opportunity to draw the entire programming of the radio station. That is, I actually took day one, Monday, after news, let us do this, let us do this, let us do this, and then I fitted in cultural programs that will give the voice of Santa, cultural music from Santa, cultural music from Bamenda, let it go out. Even in our different talk shows, let us pick stories that touch on the indigenous people. That's how I crafted the entire program schedule for Santa Meteo Radio when they just started. And even when I left the place, it ran for a few years. I don't know if they have maintained some of the programs or not. But that is how I was intentional about being able to push the culture, seeing to the fact that I experienced it. So how do I solve it? It's not just me. I'm just one person. What about the number of young persons or the number of cultural people that are struggling without visibility? And then the platforms now for on-site performances came forth through New Breed Africa, and it was still born from the Meet the Stars initiative. When I sat there at the radio, I was now discovering that I would interview quite a lot. It will be shocking that so many artists that have a voice in Cameroon today have passed through my hands in one way or the other. If not Meet the Stars, it is an event that I've organized. I've had Magasco, I've had Jovi, I've had Remis, I've had Gasha, I've had Mr. Leo, I've had Salatier on the platform. I cannot keep naming who passed through it. And I've had when they started coming, I was now looking at the possibility of, okay, this person has already hit the bar to an extent. How do I leverage on this person's popularity so far to pull some younger people to climb? That is how the New Breed Africa Celebrity Awards was created.
Awesome.
we now started looking at the possibility of doing that event, so that if we have maybe an artist that is already having a name to an extent on the platform, it's definitely going to pull more people. When that person comes, we now flood it with younger musicians. That's why a lot of people always ask, why don't you bring, maybe you would have just imported an artist to come and do this event, you make your money. The reason why we shut down the aspect of making our money to prioritizing local
content.
I'm saying local, not because the local is in terms of the content inferior, but in terms of the fact that they are here with us. The reason why we prioritize them more on our platforms is because it was initially born to give them visibility, to give them a voice. It wasn't created to make money. Otherwise, we'll just say, okay, yes, there are companies that have come to say, okay, I'm investing 5 million, but you are going to let me bring my flavor. Because he wants to fill the hall and make the money. That's his focus.
That's true.
But on the contrary, we want to use that same platform to give the voice to our own indigenous artists.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. I'm happy because we are all following up and we are seeing how she's sharing the challenges she faced and how she was overcoming those challenges and not waiting for someone else to help her overcome that challenge. The challenge of penetrating radio stations, because we know that most of them are commercial. They are in to make money. They have taxes to pay. They have equipment to repair. So, but how do we get to them, knowing that they don't care about what they give the community what they want, not what they need? Yeah, so how do we do that? She penetrated it by a simple method of giving, first of all, getting to the radio, giving them services for free. You have to program a whole radio all by yourself. And sometimes you have to get to these radio stations and do a program that has nothing to do with you as an artist. And from there, you'll be given that leeway where you can now have programs that has to do with you as an artist. It is very, very important that before you approach someone, you start thinking, what do I have to offer them that has no benefit for me? Sometimes it's difficult. What do I have to offer that have no benefit for me? Because as you are sharing your story, it's resonating with me because I realize that the masses, more than 80%, if you want to reach more than 80% of the population in Bamenda, use the radio. Forget about Facebook, forget about Instagram. If you want to reach them, use the radio. They are still on their radios. You want to use the suburb, use what? The radio. And the radios don't have content. And they need content. But when you go there and say, okay, I'm an artist, just take my song and play, they will not take it. Or they will take it and just keep it. But if you go there and say, okay, I want to create a program that does this, during that program you play a song. Case closed. Yes. Or you create programs when once you are already in the house, they even come to you for consultant. They ask consultancy. Yes. We want our program, our radio space is empty. What do we put here? And you suggest at that time and then listen. So let's explore. We have more than 10 radio stations in just Bamenda itself, not to talk of the indigenous places. And then we now have TV stations. We have more than 5 already, and they are still looking for content. But if you go with your song or with your painting or with your poetry, they will ask you to pay some money. But once you go there and say, I want to offer you help, it will help you better. Let me get to our big brother, Mezzo. In your experience, what is more powerful for creating change? Showing the painful reality of a problem or showing the hopeful possibility of a solution? How do you strike a balance in your work? In your experience as a film producer, the mic please, send the mic this way. In your experience as a film producer or as a coach, what is more powerful for creating change? You want to enact change into your community. What do you think will bring that change faster or make that change more effective? Is it about you showing a painful reality of a problem in that community? Or is it about showing a hopeful possibility of a solution of the problem in that community? Or how in your work do you strike a balance of showing the painful reality and also showing a hopeful solution?
I think
So,
it's-
but which one is more powerful to you? Showing the pain or the chaos that a problem is causing, or giving the solution?
I think it's a blend of the two of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a blend because without the problem, there can't be a solution.
There can be a solution.
It starts from the problem. So, it's first of all identifying, the problem, and then presenting it out there. Okay, like this is the problem. Most of the time, that's what stories address, right? The stories that we tell, we are not addressing something. Then I'm not sure it's worth telling the story.
We're telling the story. Okay.
Of course, every story has to be addressing something, right? So, and most of it, if it is addressing something, therefore it is kind of a problem that has been identified, and then then you do possible research on how that problem can be solved, and then you incorporate it within, and then you present the solution. So most films, like, it's always like you identify the problem, and then you do the research, and then you show the people, okay, this is how to get out of it. It's always like that.
With your work and experience,
Yeah.
what, it's not a few, it might not, most times it might not be a 50-50, but can you share with us whether showing more of the problem and showing a hopeful solution at the end helps the community overcome that problem, or showing a little of the problem and then showing more of the solution? Which one helps to create a faster change in your community?
I think the problem.
Okay, showing more of the problem.
People have to be able to identify you.
Okay.
You understand?
Okay.
And when they identify themselves in the problem, now they start looking for a solution.
So you begin by showing them more of the problem, the chaos that the problem is causing the community.
Then now you start proposing solutions.
Okay. That's what you believe that will create more change.
Of course.
And the movies you've created creates more change or creates more impact when you take time to elucidate the problem, its causes, its consequences. Then at the end you show them a hopeful solution.
Of course.
Thank you.
Like Romanus was saying, most of the times, and even Armstrong laid a better foundation for it, which is like the main problem that we face. Creatives, everybody in every domain, they face that. It's a serious problem. You understand? So at the end of the day now, we are looking at ourselves, like whether you're an artist, you're a painter, you're a filmmaker, musician, those things. That is the problem we have at hand. How do I be able to like find a solution about it? Now, many people don't know that is a problem. Like you were saying, many people, first of all, don't know that these things that you were saying, like, even you have to take a survey in this hall, the things he presented here, I'm sure that a lot of people were guilty about it. Almost everybody. There are some aspects, of course. Guilty. I was guilty about it. You understand that? And that is a problem.
Yeah.
Of course. But many people don't know. So for me to be able to come with a solution, I have to be able to present that, okay, this is it.
This is the problem.
This is the problem we are facing. You understand? Then now, okay, these are possible solutions. And I cannot just come with possible solutions from nowhere. There's so much that has to be done in terms of research, which is one of the things that's killing creatives. Romanus brought it up, and it's been like that. Lack of proper research for whatever we do, whether you're an artist or what. You understand? It's killing a lot of our stories. Our stories are not original, they're not authentic. We have been exposed to a lot of foreign content, Nigeria in particular, such that it has gotten into the heads of the younger filmmakers.
Okay.
It's common for you to watch films that they're calling somebody Odogu, this Okada man, those things, that's not us.
That's true.
But it's because they've been exposed to it and they don't even know that it is not the right thing to be able to do.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So
thank you very much. I'll go back to Armstrong. You have made it clear that one of the highest problems we are facing is the fact that we don't know our culture, we don't know our identity. So for us seated here and for everybody watching and listening to us, where do we get that cultural, how do we get to know what our culture is? Because sometimes you check online, you might see something else. Sometimes you ask for, okay, is it written somewhere in books or what? If there are books, you should let us know. If there is certain places we can get them, you should also help us. And if it's within, tell us how to access the culture, because I remember I attended a workshop in Douala, and they defined culture as the blood that flows through your veins. You cannot define culture as what people wear or what they eat and all that. You're defining like a white man, but culture was defined as the blood that flows through your veins. So where do we get that? How do we get to get information, or how do we get to know this, our cultural values, our cultural taboos, our cultural, how do we get to know them, or where do we get them?
Yeah, he made mention of lack of knowledge of self.
Yeah.
You need to know who you are.
How do you get to know who you are?
You need to know who you are by going within yourself, by isolating yourself. The world is so chaotic. We live in a very chaotic world, you know. It's like this. A lot of distractions, a lot of deception, and so much is created on a second-to-second basis, and it's available out there. So knowledge of self is very, very important, because the solution is within and not out there.
Out there.
So you need to know who you are. You need to take a step back. Go within yourself and start asking questions. Why am I on this planet? Why did I come here in the first place? What's my mission? What's my purpose? When you begin to ask those questions, the God energy within you will start speaking to you, because there are verbal frequencies coming from the God energy within you, but because you're distracted, you can't even hear. So when you start asking those questions, you will start getting some little echoes, and the more you pay attention, you will get the full gist. So meditation, like you said, is very, very important. Fasting is very, very important. There are times you need to just shut yourself out of, shut yourself away, disconnect from this chaotic world.
Sit down with yourself.
But by the way, let me say something. There's a difference between the world and the planet. The world is an illusion. The real thing is the planet. You are on a planet. But the world is a system that has been created by the people who are in control. And have sold it to you, and you have bought into it. There's no such thing as the world. You have the planet, and then you have your world. He has his world.
Yeah.
He has his world. I have my world. She has her world. He has his world. So when you don't know these things, you can't even start accessing knowledge of self. So you need to get out of the world and know that what I have is the planet. And the culture of the planet is nature. Nature is the culture of the planet. Culture exists on 3 levels. The most important aspect of culture is the culture of the planet. You need to know it. It's called nature. So you have to be careful when you're destroying nature, or when you're disconnecting yourself from nature. You can't even start having an understanding that there's a need for knowledge of self when you're disconnected from nature. There are some people, they don't even give themselves access to sunlight. There are some people that wear shoes. For the last 5 years, they've been wearing shoes. Their feet have never touched the soil. They don't know that grounding is very, very important. There are some people, they eat artificial food for 5 straight years. They don't know what natural food is. So all of those things that clock up the real you on the inside, your pineal gland is clocked up. The God energy in you is caged, and your focus is the world that you have willingly walked into. So don't even blame the people who have created that world. It's you who walk into that world. So knowledge of self is very, very important. And when we have this, as we're sharing this knowledge, we begin to start having conversations from within our homes. We start sharing it. within our communities. So culture education begins with you and in your home. Your closest community unit is your home. So it begins in your home. Start having conversations with your siblings, with your children. Start asking questions.
Awesome.
Let me give you a simple example. Go and ask the people who live along Carl Street, Ghana Street, Sisa Quarters. What's the indigenous name for that area? They'll not tell you. Ask someone who was born in Old Town and has lived for 90 years. Most of them, Old Town. What's the indigenous man name for Old Town? They'll not tell you. So we need to start having these conversations from within our family units, asking questions. The most important question should be culture, not what is. See, the culture of the planet, like I said, is nature. The next important culture is the culture that is tied to your ethnicity. You understand?
Yeah.
And then the last important culture is your personal culture that you have curated for yourself as an individual. But then there's a toxic culture out there, which is called popular culture, pop culture, right? It's created by the system. And that's what 99% of the people are pursuing. Pop culture, popular culture. It has no ethnicity, you know. Wait. Let me tell you something that will amaze you. You cannot go out there and you say Cameroon culture or Nigerian culture. It doesn't exist. Cameroon has no culture. Nigeria has no culture. There's no country on the planet that has any culture, because countries were created by people. Countries are a collective of ethnic groups that have been boxed together for geopolitical reasons, right?
Yeah.
But each country is a home of various cultures from ethnic groups. For instance, Yoruba is a culture. Igbo is a culture because they're ethnic groups. Nigeria is not an ethnic group. You understand? The same with Cameroon. So if it doesn't even make sense for you to stand out there and say Cameroon culture. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't exist. Or Black American culture. It doesn't exist. You can say there is Cameroon arts and creativity, because art has to do with the individual, and that individual has a Cameroonian identity. So you can say Cameroonian art, but you can't say Cameroonian culture. You can say Bamenda culture. You can say Ewondo culture. You can say Douala culture. You can say Bamenda culture. You get?
Yeah.
So these are things that we need to understand if we have to solve our problems.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
we need to understand what culture is, and then it begins from the home, it begins from the community. But then the real kickoff point is you, an individual. And to have that, you have to reconnect to nature. We need to start teaching ourselves and our children and siblings how to plant trees. Take it up as a responsibility. How many trees you plant each year? See, we live in a very primitive society. You think that civilization means building a mansion, so you buy a plot, the first thing you do, you cut everything that nature has given you, put it down. Because you think you have money that you borrow from a credit union or you have embezzled to build a high rise or a man. No, that's primitivity. So you don't know that the plant is what holds that soil. The plant is your source of water. The plant is what filters the air that you breathe. So we need to reconnect to nature. That's the starting point. Yeah. When you return to nature, which is a culture of the planet, you have opened up your cosmic pathways to start knowing how to access knowledge of self.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I hope we are learning a lot here, ladies and gentlemen, as I am. Thank you so much. Let's get back to Ankias Valley Man. Let's get back to you. You are on the front lines of the creative community here in the Bamenda Highlands, or the Northwest as they call it. What are the biggest locks, systemic barriers, policy issues, or social attitudes that are currently holding back artists in Bamenda from being effective agents of change?
Yeah, great. I will not hide it that we have a lot of barriers that are holding artists here in the Northwest region. And the first of it all is, it depends on the artist. most of them are naive and they don't want to have self-confidence in what they do because they are avoiding to have that identity in what they do. They don't want to identify who they are. And if an artist is dashing away from knowing who he or she is, that artist will never move a step. It's like that an artist that is lost. And secondly, I will not hide it that we also have educational systems that don't bring out topics or subjects that we can teach creative arts and unique talents in the individuals. Because I can never be you and you won't be me. You can't be me. I have something unique that I was born with. That is the DNA in me that you can't take it. But we needed platforms where and educational systems where those aspirations can be developed to the fullest. And to me, I think it's really a criminal lethargy on the part of government because government hasn't done anything possible to give us these platforms where and books and educational systems where we can develop our talents to the fullest. You know, talent is not only something that you need to teach, but it needs 80% of practical work.
Okay.
For instance, we don't have a cultural center in this region that is free for artists to sit back and practice what God gave them. Likewise, if you go to Yaoundé or Douala, you'll see most of those platforms are there, which I think it's like allowing us run a race without wearing shoes and others wear shoes to run that same race. I will not hide it again, brother, to tell you that if you are an artist from born here in this Northwest, and if you have some little degree of consciousness, and if you can do something while the population of Bamenda cheers you up, then know that if you get out of this periphery, it won't be just cheering you up. You will disgrace some other people who think they have talents. I'm speaking it is like surviving a fish out of water here. Because first of all, it is so difficult to survive in the Northwest with your arts. Look at something that we have here. It's very nice and great. How many of them are having that mindset or that consciousness to come and attend and share this kind of knowledge that we have here? Because they think that buying and selling for the Chinese children in China makes you a rich person than sitting here to create something that you were born with. For instance, we have the biggest businessmen in this town who claim to be businessmen who are marketers of the Chinese kids.
Definitely.
Because the Chinese kids had workshops and they had platforms to study those things that they are manufacturing today. And we find the biggest gurus of this town.
Yeah, they are just marketers.
They call themselves businessmen. Yeah. But we have people here who can give value to this, what you are wearing. And then we design it, let it not only serve one purpose. This thing is not just serving a purpose of a cap, but to the white man it serves as a decoration too.
Yeah.
Somebody takes it and keeps it for generations to come, and so they give value to it. They can even buy it for 200,000 francs. But now, how much do we sell it here? Because that's just the same thing that's happening with art. You spend all your time investing on an album, and if the album cannot give you 1/10 of what you have invested, will you be part of it again? Some of us just do it at times because of the love. So that's where the game is. So I want to think that the government should, educational systems, we need to, NGOs are coming here. What are they doing in the name of NGOs to embezzle money, or what have they done to develop the cultural aspects of this place? So we have a lot of things.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's go over to Kimbi. Let's go over to Big Brother Kimbi.
Sir,
yes.
Before you get to ask another question, I just have something to say.
We'll get back to you in a moment. We want to plead with you that just jot it down somewhere so that it doesn't disappear. We'll get back to you in a moment. We are about rounding off. Okay. We'll get back to you in a moment, sir. Thank you so much. Right. Alright. Just step aside. Let him talk. Are you getting him?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Bring here. Let me ask the question using the mic so that you can be able to get me, and then we'll take it back to you. All right. As the coordinator of Bamenda Film Hub, I think you see a lot of talent pass through the hub. what recurring themes or stories are you noticing from young filmmakers in Bamenda now, right now? And what are they most passionate about telling the world? And what do you think they should be passionate about telling the world for young filmmakers? A lot of movies, you've seen a lot of movies pass through Bamenda Film Hub. What stories are young people so passionate about telling the world? And do these stories coincide with what you feel they should be passionate about telling the world?
Bamenda has been quite challenging lately with respect to the arts and movie sector. For a start, it is difficult to carry something like a tripod and be moving around, because you can be mistaken for somebody carrying a weapon.
Yeah.
Drones are not allowed, so that is already a creative hindrance to the production. Even if you carry a camera, you may be mistaken for a journalist who wants to take images that can compromise. So with those aspects, creatives that we have come across in Bamenda Film Hub, they are tilted to do productions that may limit them indoors. And by so doing, it tends mostly to love stories, stories that involve just family, and you see that it's a hindrance to their creativity.
Sure.
Then when you come to aspect of the kinds of productions that are sent out there by a creative, is mostly geared towards stories that are not involved with the culture. That stories that they don't it's not a reflection of our culture.